y equals -2 times x minus 5 squared. And this is number 24. Right? So, where is the vertex of this graph?
Would be 5, 0.
Yes. At positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0. And then where do we go? Down 2 over 1, just like it was a slope. I don't know if we've noticed that connection here or not, but we're kind of almost treating it like it's a slope. And then instead of drawing a straight line between them, we just draw a little curved line.
Cool.
Fancy.
So fancy. That's what Reba McEntire said. She said she was fancy. Who's Reba McEntire?
That's a joke. My dad is really into country music, so of course I know who Reba McEntire is.
You can't have lived through the 90s and not know who Reba McEntire is, even if you either hate country or say you hate country because it was popular to hate country. Either one of those, you still would know who Reba McEntire is.
I was born in 2004.
I know. I was referring more to your dad at that point. I mean, theoretically.
I don't remember how he feels about Reba McEntire.
No, I didn't say you had to like Reba McEntire. I just said you'd have to know who she was.
I didn't say you did. I just don't remember how he feels about Reba.
Are you trying to fight me right now? Lesson 4.8.
Starting the argument, I was just saying
I didn't think I was arguing.
everything is an argument until you get it right.
What'd you say, girl? Number 40? I don't know. I said it a long time ago. Number 40 was something.
The answer to number 40 is 1.
Number 40 was y equals 3 halves times quantity x plus 3 squared plus 2. Okay. Lesson 4.8 is quadratic inequalities.
I didn't know the quadratics or whatever groups the internet is standing behind these days.
You know, you've made that joke every time we've had this word.
Have I?
Yes.
It's funny. It's funny every time.
I don't think that's quite true. It might have been funny the first time, maybe. I don't remember. That's been a few days ago. Okay.
I don't think I said it with those exact words, but it was the same idea.
Yeah, that's how repeated jokes work. That's true.
I don't remember making it the first time. I thought that was the first time.
I could believe that.
Yes, probably why.
Example number 1.
Every time it's
Graph.
new to me.
That's it.
Just graph.
Y
I feel like we should be mild.
is greater than x squared plus 2x plus 1. So there are different ways to go about graphing this guy. First of all, we pretend like that's an equals, right? And then we shade later. We know that much because we've done ones with linear functions. So as far as how to get the information we need to graph it, there's a few different ways to go about it. Which way do we want to roll with it?
Would you put it in,
In vertex form? Sure, that's a great plan.
Which way?
Let's start with that.
is there a different way to do it easier?
We're probably going to do both things to get good practice with both.
Great.
So, if we find out this information, the Y-intercept, the X-intercepts, potentially plural, the vertex, and maybe a point or two if necessary, we can graph this thing easily. So let's pick one and go for it.
X-intercept.
Okay, X-intercepts, great place to start. How do we find the X-intercepts from this? The amount of silence right now tells me that y'all probably should start studying for the test yesterday. Because you probably ought to be able to answer that question off the top of your head. And it's okay that you haven't, I'm just saying.
The vertex is 2x, right?
No. But using the 2 is one way to get the vertex, which is probably what you're remembering. So you're remembering a piece of that puzzle.
Yay.
Which is good. Which is good.
I'm a smart guy.
The initial question, my initial question was we should start by finding one of those things. The Y-intercept and the X-intercept, there's really one way to solve it. The vertex, there's 2 ways. You kind of talked about one. Didn't give us steps for it, but you posited one way to do it.
B over 2A.
We could use the vertex formula, sure. For the X part of the vertex, or the axis of symmetry, it's X equals the opposite of B over 2A. So what's B in this problem? 2 over 2 times A, which is 1. You were right that time. So what does negative 2 over 2 equal? Negative 1. So that's the X part of the vertex. How do we find the Y part now? Emily knows. I bet Emily knows more than she's letting on. We proved the other day that that's often true. What did we say? What did you say, girl? Sounds like a great idea. So we're going to find y of negative 1, right? What's negative 1 squared? So what's 1 minus 2 plus 1? Do I need to ask it again? What's 1 minus 2 plus 1? 0. So we know that our vertex is negative 1, 0. You were going to be one of those guys on the little stupid Facebook questions.
Yep.
What is the right answer to this thing? Nobody cares. Why are you saying this? So there's the vertex.
My dad theorizes that those are put there by people training computers.
Well, that could be true some of the times. All right, so that's our vertex.
Similar to Tesla's doing road mapping whenever you drive them.
How are we going to find Y-intercept or X-intercept? Either one. We can't do that yet. We need those things to graph it. Vertex form wouldn't, vertex, we don't even need vertex form anymore because we did the vertex another way. We can go to vertex form to get differenter points. But we're not going to do that this time. Because I think we need to practice it the other way too. All along the y-axis, what is x equal to? All along here, what is x is equal to 0? So to find the y-intercept, what could we do? Because of that.
X with 0.
Replace x with 0. Sounds great.
So y equals 0.
So for the,
Plus 2, 0.
yes.
So
To find the x-intercept, we could set x equal to 0.
that's y. Okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Banana man. 0.
So it's 1.
So it's 3.
What? It's 3. What are you saying?
No, the answer is 1. 2 times 0 is 0. Oh, yeah.
So the y-intercept is 0, 1.
And the x-intercept is 1, 0.
That's unlikely to be true. Oh, yeah, it is true, actually. Just kidding.
For once in my life, I am actually correct. So now you have to deal with that fact.
Since we already know where the x-intercept is, we don't even have to do it that way. I was going to have us factor it, but we already know the answer because that's where the vertex lives. So we should just graph it now, right? Now, that pink thing, or is it vermilion? I don't know. It depends on whether it's on that screen or this screen. No, it's definitely not vermilion. There's not enough orange in it.
How do we find the x-axis?
We found it automatically because it's the vertex. Because it happened to be the same.
Could you technically get like the table and get the numbers on one side, plug them in?
Yes. Always. So that right there, that pink thing, is the graph of y equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. So now we need to turn that into y is greater than x squared plus 2x plus 1. So where are we going to shade? Are we going to shade above or below the parabola? Above. That's right. How'd you get that? Because greater than. That's true. There it is. Any questions on that problem?
Y equals 1, Daniel. Or 0, 1.
Just y.
Yeah, 0, 1.
No, it's W-H-Y.
Okay, let's do another example.
Yep, y equals 0.
Solve by graphing. And because you need the practice, we're going to say and algebraically.
No. I don't think that's fun.
I didn't say it was because it was fun. I said it was because we need it.
And obvious.
And the problem is x squared. That's a 2. Plus 2x minus 8 is less than 0. So we'll do the by graphing first. So to solve this by graphing, we turn the 0 into a y and we graph it. Okay. So we're going to ultimately graph y is greater than x squared, excuse me, plus 2x minus 8. Let's start by finding the x-intercepts of this thing, because that's the one thing we didn't practice on the first one because we kind of accidentally cheated. Right? If you were paying attention at home, also already gave you a hint as to how we would find the x-intercepts. So how would we find the x-intercepts? Yeah, we put it back the way it was, and then we do what? Not the y-intercept, the x-intercepts. So we put a 0 in for the y and then solve for x. That's all true. So we basically start here. And then what?
Solve for X.
Yeah, how? We know 3 different ways to solve for x, y'all. And
Not with these variables.
yeah, with these variables. We need to know this in our heads. This is going to be on the test. 3 different ways it's going to be on the test. Yeah. You could factor. You could the quadratic formula, or you could complete the square, right? So we're going to factor. So how do we factor that guy? What's the first step in factoring? 2 sets of parentheses. And then what?
Put an X in the front of each of them.
Yeah. And then, yes. And then,
Put a 4 and a 2.
why'd you pick 4 and 2?
Because you can subtract, you can do,
First part of why you picked it first.
because they
If you subtract 2 from 4, you
multiply together to get 8.
Because they multiply together to get 8. And then, what y'all are both saying,
which seems like the most important step because
they're both quite important.
I already knew about the 8 thing.
Okay. So it's the most important step today because you remembered the other step already. All right, I got you.
So you're trying to get the middle number?
We're trying to multiply to get the end number,
Well, I already knew.
and we're trying to add to get the middle number. So can we add or subtract 4 and 2 to get a positive 2? Yes. What do the signs need to be?
Plus and minus.
Plus and minus. We follow our nose and our mouth, and it is now factored. So what we have at this point is x plus 4 times x minus 2 equals 0. So now how do we finish up solving for x? It's like the easiest step in here, well, other than writing the 2 parentheses. Can't do that. Parentheses are there. No, that's not the next step.
Parentheses say no.
Parentheses do say no when we're talking about combining like terms. Absolutely. What do we do at this point right here on this problem? We're solving for x.
Distribute the 4.
And we're going to end up putting it back the way we had it if we distribute it back out. Go back in your notes then. I'm going to make y'all work for this one. You did. We've done problems like this lots of times. In fact, we did it in unit 0 and we've done it in this unit. So we've done it twice this year. This is a fact. I'm going to make y'all work for this one because this is one that we need to know in our head.
Oh,
Once we have a thing completely factored and equal to 0, what can we do then? We could, if we want, that's what I was just talking to Daniel about. If we wanted to go back up to the step previous, we could, but that's probably not what we want to do ultimately.
Oh, we, divided into different columns?
Yes. We set each factor equal to what? 0. That is what we do. So x plus 4 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. Now what? What does x end up equaling? And? And 2.
Yay!
Those are the zeros. Those are the x-intercepts. Right? So far, what we know about our graph, boy, is that I can't draw a straight line, apparently. Is that it crosses the x-axis at somebody's cell phone. Also at -4 and at 2. What's the y-intercept of this graph going to be? How are we going to find the y-intercept?
Is that the one where you do the zeros into it?
It's into the x, absolutely. So once we plug a 0 into both x's, what are we gonna have for our y-intercept? -8. So 0, negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need to know the vertex. And it would be easiest to do this at this point with the other works that we've done by using the vertex formula, -b over 2a, but we're not going to do that because we need the practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to vertex form, which is like yesterday's homework. We're going to just turn this into an equals. So if I'm going to turn this into vertex form, what are my steps now? This was the homework that was due today, or 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, or whenever this homework was due. What's step 1?
I'm a little bit frustrated because I know what it is, but I can't remember.
Well, make a guess. It's okay if it's... I'd rather y'all make a guess that's close and we can get closer there than...
Scoot it over.
Scoot which one over?
The -8.
Sounds great.
Yay, okay, that is something that I thought
That in
it was.
practice?
This is...
What is
This is the same problem we're doing here. We're finding the vertex, and we're doing it not the easiest way, and we're doing it because we need practice doing it this way. You could use this, you could do it the same way we did it up here, right? You could use this. And that would be the easier way to do it on this at this point, the direction we've gone. And that's fine, but I want us to practice this other. So we're doing this. Converting this to yes, and we're working on the vertex, and we're doing it by putting this into vertex form. So just like our homework that we've been doing, yes. And the only step we've done is we've scooted over the -8. That's what we've done thus far. So now what?
We need to put it in the formula, so then we need to put it in the.
Opposite would be the green part.
Not the opposite would be over 2a, but
Oh, the be over to
the green part, yes.
squared.
Yeah.
Or no,
b divided by 2 squared. B is what in this particular problem?
2.
2. What's 2 divided by 2?
1.
1
One squared is 1.
is 1.
1.
Plus 1. How do we get rid of it? How do we make that legal and okay?
Put a 1 on the other side of the 8.
Now what?
Now we cry.
They're about to be.
Wait, do you add it?
That's why you said to put a 1. All I did. Would we add it or subtract it?
Subtract.
Whichever one would make it okay. Which one would make it okay? Which one makes it cancel and disappear and go away? Subtracting, yes. And this one. Now what? Yeah. What's going to go in the parentheses?
X plus 2.
Not plus 2. Not 3. Plus 1. Where it's always this one. Before we do this step, it's always that one. Always, 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 always. Plus 1. Now what? What's going to be outside the parentheses? Minus 9. So what's the vertex then?
Positive 1, negative 9.
So close, but no.
-9 +1.
Nope. Further away that time. Getting colder. -1 positive 9. No, not positive. Oh. Nope. Closer, but well, I don't know if that's any closer than yours. Probably the same distance.
-1, -9.
-1, -9. Yeah. Only the X one flips, right? Which we probably could have figured out because symmetry, but that's okay.
The axis of symmetry. Everyone's favorite.
Right? So we got plenty of points. We're going to graph the thing. We've actually already done, because we did it this way, we've actually done most of the work to solve it algebraically, which is lovely. Where are we going to shade? What? Yep. Above it. Okay. So we already did most of the work to solve it algebraically, so let's finish that real quick. Actually, you can't really solve this algebraically. That's kind of a lie. Just kidding. LOL. Scratch out that.
Sweet.
Because algebraically, all we would know is that it's greater than -4 and greater than 2. How we doing, kiddos?
Dying.
Dying on the inside.
Yep.
Is that switchfoot? I think that was switchfoot. Something. Something.
Switchfoot is okay.
That is your opinion.
The skillet is great.
They're very different.
They're very different.
Yeah. It's going to be example 3.
Switchfoot, some good stuff. Now, relying K is great.
I disagree.
That's
Mrs. Fulkerson would agree with you, but I do not.
well, good. She should. I'm right.
I don't like Reliant K very much. We're going to solve, and we're going to do this. Well, no, just kidding. We're going to solve by graphing. Sounds fine. We're going to follow a similar tact. We're going to start by finding the x-intercepts of this guy. Excuse me.
I like any worship band that doesn't sound full of themselves.
What? I've never heard a worship band that sounds full of themselves. Let's find the x-intercept. So what are we going to do? I've heard worship bands that are full of themselves, but not one that sounds like it. At least not with their music, anyway.
You take out the 2.
What? What?
Personal pronouns in the song makes the song.
What? I'm confused, but that's okay. What should we do on this problem? Take out the 2, he says. We're trying to solve for x right now.
Oh.
Is our goal.
That's 0.
No. We're not solving for a y-intercept. We're solving for x-intercepts. Yeah, we can give a good college try at factoring the thing. Sounds great.
Or do you want to do like a quadratic formula because we just did factoring?
No, I want to make a strong attempt at factoring.
Great.
Wording choices intentional. But so, in order to factor this guy, what are we going to do? It's not, but I turned it into an equal so I can factor it. So I can solve it by factoring. Well, I can try.
I don't think it's X and X.
It is not x and x. That's right. So what is it? 1x and 2x. Absolutely.
We never saw that before.
We've seen it lots of times, actually. Yeah, we absolutely have.
It's awesome.
We very, very, very much have. Very, very, very much.
1 times 2 is 2.
It's common sense. So
No, it's not common sense. It's not remotely common sense, but it is the 2 things that multiply to get the first term.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It makes
I know. I'm not always right, and I usually admit when I'm wrong, but
It makes sense to me, therefore it has to be common sense because I don't get non-common sense.
lies. Okay, now, what should we do now?
Now we should do.
Smiley face.
Wow, that is really going to be weird.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Oh, it's going to just be 1 and 5.
Yeah, sure, 1 and 5. Okay, so we're trying to get 4, right?
1 is negative.
2 times 1 is 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. Can we add or subtract those to get 4? See or no? No. Okay, so since it's not that, we should, before we give up on our life and go cry in a corner, we should change it to 5 and 1 and see if that works.
No.
What's 5 times 2? 10. 1 times 1 is 1. So this doesn't factor. What is our recourse if it doesn't factor? We still have 2 ways we can make this work. After we cry, how else we could use the quadratic formula. Thank you very much. What is the quadratic formula?
Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Beautiful.
Yay!
Did you read that?
No.
What? Oh.
What?
What is that?
That's the quadratic formula,
Yeah.
which I have expressed you will need to memorize for the test. I will express it again. What's B on this problem?
Is that Y?
X equals.
Okay.
There's not even technically a Y.
4,
What's A on this problem?
2, and then
And C?
negative 5, and then negative 5.
The opposite of B is negative 4, plus or minus square root. What's 4 squared?
Isn't it negative?
16.
It is 16. 16. What is negative 4 times 2 times negative 5? It's definitely not 3.
No. I forgot the
Timesing. 4 times 2 times 5
negative 4.
Plus phobe.
times negative 5. Yeah, true. How about positive 40? Negative 4 times positive 2 times negative 5 is positive 40. And then 16 plus 40. Even my middle school kids would know that's 56. What's the square root of 56 approximately?
Somewhere between 7 and 8.
It's liable to be true.
I just don't know completely.
I know we're at time, y'all, but we're going to finish this quadratic formula at least.
3, 3, 1, 4, 7, 7.
Just give me rounded to the thousandths is fine.
7.48 or 7.47, I guess. Rounded.
I said thousandths, so one more. 4, 8, wait,
7.484. Or
8.
3.
4.
No, not 3, 4. It's just 3.
3. Well,
That's
rounded it would be 2.
No, you don't. You never go down. You either go up or stay the same.
Oh, okay. Well then, 3.
7.483.
And then split them.
And then we split them into negative 4 plus that.
Wait, can we try to find the square root of 56?
Yes,
Can I use our calculator?
you should. You literally can't do it otherwise. So what's negative 4 plus 7 point that? It'd be 3 point that. Yes? Yes. No, it'd be 3 point whatever that is.
3.483.
No.
No.
Yes.
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 What?
3.483 over 4. And negative 11.483, right? Over 4. So what's 3.483 divided by 4?
That'd be like 7.275.
0.808. Is that right?
0.870. But then the 7 after it will make the 0 a 1.
So that.
That.
Good Lord. And then negative 11.483 divided by 4 is what?
Negative 2.87871.
So those are the X-intercepts of this graph, and we'll quit that one there. I'm going to give you a little homework.
So we're gonna finish that one.
We will do, next class, we will do a little, 1 or 2 more examples from this lesson, and then we will probably start working on studying for the test, I suspect strongly.
Homework is cringe.
Page 287, numbers 14 through 30 evens. That's all she wrote. Yes, in context, that probably would make more sense.
1 through 2 odds.
You should have said no. That wouldn't work either.
1 through 2 imaginary numbers. Or 7.
1 through 2 all potential numbers, including this. You will never
ever until you die.
Mostly